Guys must be sick of hearing me talk about safe coins every other day, but it's the same thing, right? When tokenization became more widely discussed, I brought it to everyone's attention in a big way since there wasn't much money connected to it at the time. Big companies like BlackRock, Fidelity, Franklin Templeton, and others were not connected to tokenization. Over time, tokenization grew to become one of the most important things in crypto. Coins that are stable are that thing now. They're kind of like tokenization too. It's getting so big and fast for stable coins right now, and the race is going on all over the world. And what we just saw from the EU and the BIS really sped things up. We need to do something about this. We need to talk about it. That being said, welcome to the channel, everyone. If you're new to the channel, I hope you enjoy this movie. In fact, you do sign up. So let's go back to March, right? I would say that Scott Bissett kind of confirmed what the US wants to do. Stablecoins are being used as a financial tool. They are now making digital dollars into weapons, just like they did with the dollar. And this is what we have. We are going to think a lot about the stablecoin system. Also, as President Trump told us to, we will use stablecoins to make sure that the US dollar stays the world's most important reserve currency. Look it over. We are also going to give the stablecoin system a lot of thought. In line with what President Trump has said, we will use steady coins to keep the US dollar as the world's main reserve currency. Thanks. That's all there is to it. On top of that, right? It didn't end there. At the beginning of April, he doubled down on this. We are going to look very closely at the rules that make blockchain, stablecoins, and new payment systems hard to use. Scott Bissett is the Secretary of the Treasury of the United States. Look it over. We're going to look very closely at the rules that make blockchain, stablecoins, and new payment systems hard to use. We will also think about changes that could make the American financial markets even more powerful. The American people deserve a financial services business that helps everyone, especially Main Street, the Treasury Department, and I will give that to you under President Trump's direction. Thanks. In other words, we can see that crypto and especially new payment methods are getting more attention. It's like we need to draw attention to that. But coins that don't move, the move toward the new payment systems which are based on DLT is sped up by stablecoins. I've said it a few times in the last few years. It's okay if you're new to the channel. People who have watched the station know that I have been saying this. As soon as safe coins are used by the government for certain payments, even small ones, they will be widely used. I remember that this was a big deal back in 2020, but it was like giving out stimulus checks in safe coins. And when things like that start to happen, we're already in the future of payments, because things just go faster from there. Tokenizing funds is now the most important thing about stablecoins. This is where things start to get really bad, right? Because there are now more than $6 billion worth of tokenized reserves, and that number could go up to $8 billion. And now a lot of those tokenized treasuries are coming from solid coin issuers, and the rate of growth is only going up. This is a total change to the way the financial system works as we know it. All of it is going digital. Stablecoins are cash currency that has been turned into a token. That's how I've always talked about stablecoins. Right now, I think everyone knows that, and this is the future we are moving into. The crazy thing about these two videos is that Scott Bissett sent us another one. The IMF and the World Bank are on his mind. We have the IMF and the World Bank, which will always be useful, but mission creep has thrown these organizations off track. Important changes need to be made to make sure that the Bretton Woods organizations serve their stakeholders and not the other way around. That being said, let me say what I just said before I play this clip. Stablecoins money and going on the chain, making the switch from traditional rails to digital tracks. People who own XRP have been talking about this for years, and now we can see everything shining in front of us. This is being shown to us in a bright light. We just need to pay attention because it's becoming more and more clear that it's happening. Look at this. A lot of my work has been spent looking at financial policy from the outside. From inside, I can see outside. I'm excited to work with all of you to get things back in order on the world stage. But before we can do that, we need to rebuild the IMF and the World Bank so that they can do the things they were created to do. The IMF and the World Bank have standards that will last. But mission creep has thrown these groups off track. We need to make some important changes to make sure that the Bretton Woods institutions work for the people who have a stake in them, and not the other way around. A lot of people have thought about what a Bretton Woods 3-style game would be like over the years. A lot of people called it a commodity revolution, and what we would see is the whole world financial system change. once more backed by commodities, but this time it would also be connected to digital ledgers and digital currencies. There, I've said many times that we would change the value of gold, turn it into tokens, and divide it into small pieces. Then each country would have its own currency. It might be safe coins, right? At first it was CBDCs. There is now a lot of attention on steady coins, though. A lot of stable coins are also CBDCs. That's all I want you to know. They would be tied to a certain amount of gold. They would back you up in that way. That's what would, keep them safe. We would also have an independent bridge currency that no one controls. That will also be linked to a certain weight of gold and be worth that much in gold. For a long time, people have thought about this picture of a new financial system, but we didn't have any clear instructions until now. Now, the Trump administration and Scott Bissett are saying that they want to align the IMF and the World Bank on this mission to go ahead and come up with new ideas. And we've heard from the Trump administration that they want to use crypto. They need to be sure that crypto is the most important thing here. And the crazy thing is that we are moving toward a multipolar world of money. We got some very important news on the 23rd. China has put out a plan to get more foreign businesses to use the yuan and its own payment system. That's it. As a way to fight Washington's unfair trade policies, the country wants to depend less on the dollar-based global banking system. As I've already said, the trade war and talks about tariffs are speeding up. There are a lot of problems with it, so it's a big problem. So that's it, right? Problem, response, and answer. By using their own currencies, these countries will start to push back. Just like China is doing here, this is the only way to solve the problem, using their own methods of payment. And this will speed up the move towards stablecoins, digital currencies, DLT, and systems based on blockchain. It's the same thing as the penalties, right? There is also a lot of talk about how to use blockchain and get around sanctions because of sanctions. Are fixed coins going to be used? Are they likely to use Ethereum or Bitcoin? This kind of thing has always been going on. We can see every major accelerant right in front of us. Something funny about all of this is that we just saw the ECB warn that Trump's support for crypto could cause financial chaos that could make Europe's economy less stable. After that, read the second part. The ECB is worried that a rise in stablecoins backed by the US could cause European investors to move their money to the US. This is the exact reason why US-backed stablecoins are getting so much attention. Because of this, the ECB will now push the use of stablecoins backed by the EU. Of course, they will also start to really push for stablecoin laws outside of MiCA. Even though they already have MiCA, I believe that it is not fully compatible with stablecoins. This is something that many people have also pointed out. I think that they are going to make changes to that. That's not quite clear how it will work yet, but it looks like the EU is getting ready because they are now watching what the US does. And what the US is doing will speed up the plan